it's a fascinating cultural moment because TikTok is all about like imitation. It's people imitating dances and people lip syncing songs. So like we're there. We're at that dystopian moment where it is a purely aesthetic experience where there's no talent there except the ability to keep, generating content no matter what it is, but it's all heavily borrowed from somebody else. A lot of the music on TikTok is popular music, and people just go, well, I'll just lip sync that. I have a six pack, I'll lip sync that, and I'll dance around in a yard. And again, that seems to be like the business model. They're like locusts. It's biblical. It's truly biblical, I think. I think that's where I come down on it. I think it's the final judgment rendered on Hollywood was that it would be taken over by children lip syncing and dancing in the stairwells of mansions. It may also be the final judgment on America that's how, during this kind of disintegration of our country, that this is the entertainment we deserve and the entertainment available to us. The big fat Batman villain that runs this whole thing, he runs the Sway House.
Oh, he does?
Oh, yeah, he's the new Lou Pearlman.
Have you guys spoken to him?
Oh, we've gone to dinner with him a ton of times. Oh, and then there was this restaurant called Boa Steakhouse where all these kids would go and like just throw money around, and like all these waiters and waitresses at Boa who would like move to LA to be actors are now living in this new hellish reality where they have to explain to these 15-year-old millionaires like what a Brussels sprout is. And that was how I became aware of them. They like took over the city of Los Angeles.
So when you recognize, you said there's a TikTok. How did you is there certain individuals that you had recognized?
Well, they're famous, right? So they're all over social media. They all have the same kind of hair. It's an interesting.
I can't do it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you're not supposed to do it.
Yeah.
That's the thing about TikTok it is like the people that are on TikTok, God bless them. Like there's comedians on TikTok, and they're trying to get something happening, but it's like it is not for you. You know what I mean? When you see these guys who are on like Mad TV, and they're like, "What about this?" and you're like, this is not it. But yeah, you'd recognize like Josh Richards or Bryce Hall or the D'Amelios or like Addison Rae. Like these people are massively famous, massive social media followings. And then those are like some of the main people, and then there's other ones too. And then you have the like second string or third string where it's like they're willing to step in if someone has an injury. Like if there's a twerking injury, if there's like a wiggling fracture, then you have the second or third string of people who will like step in, and they will also dance and eventually fight someone in an arena.
Right. So I think we could just go down that road. What do you think about like that? So there's a lot of trends that come and go rather quickly in the social media world. The boxing one actually been around for probably 5 years and still going. It seems to only get bigger and more and more.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's nothing left to do, right? A lot of people try to get into music. That's not good. They do like one song. It'll be auto-tuned, and it'll sound like literally an algorithm is singing to you. It'll be like Siri is singing, like, and they'll do their like one song, and then that doesn't usually catch. And then, I mean, some of them act, but they're not great actors. So you have fighting. This is, the Roman Colosseum. This is the end. And, embrace it. I think it's fun. I watched the fights. They were really entertaining. As long as you would understand and admit kind of that this is the end of culture and the destruction of civilization, I enjoy it. But some people have a problem with that and they're not able to enjoy it as much. I think it's fun.
Because it's like staring into the abyss for real. But this one more thing, I can't help it. We have to have this discussion because this is happening. Ivy League students, this is a headline and it's not a parody. This isn't The Onion. This is an actual headline. Ivy League students offered crayons, Legos, and cookies with milk to cope with Trump's election win. Harvard and Penn State are giving students the day off. There are professors at Princeton who are postponing exams. There are students at various schools who are allowing their grades to be changed later for the stress they have now gone through during this election. They're getting out of homework, they're getting out of class. And Georgetown University built a self-care suite. This is the level that things are at in Ivy League colleges. I don't even know anymore how much is being charged to these kids and their families for going to these very, very expensive schools that we're supposed to, in our society, revere.
TikTok video. Like, one of these kids, certain ones are popular for certain reasons, and it seems like a lot.
What makes a good TikTok video is people wanting to fuck the person who's making it. That's the reality. We could say many other things, but the majority of this is young girls or guys or whoever that have a crush on these kids, these young men or women. They also envy them, right? They present a life that you want. You want to live with your friends in Los Angeles. You want to look perfect. You want to go to the beach for, and dance in the waves. Like, so their lifestyle is enviable. People want it. So they're selling that. They're selling an experience that you're not going to have. Like, they're famous and rich for dancing. How cool is that? That's fun. They're doing these dumb dances. You do them too, but you do them in Indiana, in your basement. These kids do them in LA, and they get famous. So they're selling an experience. So I think what makes a good TikTok video is people looking at it and going, damn, I wish I had that, whatever that is. Or the other side of TikTok is crackhead in a 7-Eleven. Like, that's also good. It's two sides of the coin. TikTok is two sides of the coin. You're going, man, I wish I had that, or thank God I'm not involved in that. It's just voyeurism to two different extremes. I like them. Listen, I like these kids. They're not bad people. They're taking advantage of what I assume anyone would in their position, right? Like, they're trying to get as big as they can with the tools that they have. And so I think they're a different breed, though. I think kids like Logan and Jake Paul are really smart and savvy, and they have staying power, and they have an insane work ethic. And as for the other guys, like, it remains to be seen, right? Like, they have to prove themselves. But, like, I've always felt like Logan Paul's always texting me back if I had questions about anything. He would ask me. He's helped us edit a video. Like, the guy is just a great guy, literally. Like, so there are really good people out there. It doesn't take away from the fact that the whole thing is a little silly, but I don't think they're bad kids at all. For the ones that I've met, I'm sure that, again, they're not. When I've gone to dinner with a few of them, and they've been, they're a bit bland, some of them. It's like the same one. It's like Gremlins, where you fed them after midnight, and then, you got them wet, and then there's just 40 of them. I don't know how distinct they are, but I'm sure they know each other more, and I'm sure they have different personalities. Like, some like hockey, some like baseball. I'm sure there's...
Take school off and take care of themselves. The classes are being canceled, and we just need to breathe. We all just need to breathe because it's so heavy. But they'll keep the classroom open for people to come if they want a space to reflect. An adjunct professor of international and public affairs at Columbia, who apparently served on the Obama administration White House Council on Women and Girls, canceled class and said, although I planned a tentative lecture on modern polling methods and their blind spots, it feels a bit tone deaf to deliver that today. You mean the day after an election? That is the perfect time to deliver a class on misleading polling methods. That's exactly the time you want to deliver that class. Why would that be tone deaf? Organizers at Dartmouth encourage students to be off the grid the day after election or come back to attend a decompression dinner. Look at this headline. Legos, cocoa, and coloring books for Georgetown students. At the McCourt School of Public Policy, officials are offering mindfulness options. Now look at this agenda, which comes from the school's director of student engagement. Tea, cocoa, self-care, a Lego station, coloring and mindfulness exercises, milk and cookies and Legos, snacks and self-guided meditation to recover from this. There are more educational activities taking place in preschools than this. I just want to point that out. Look at this. In recognition of these stressful times, be good to yourselves, check in on your friends. They're acting like 9/11 happened. And it
walk up to any kid, any random kid, and they immediately have they do like a move almost, it like straight into the camera and almost have like a saying. Like every kid in the crowd had almost like, this is my TikTok type moment. Like, I'm ready.
Well, do you know what that is? They're pledging allegiance to the CCP of China. That's what they're doing. Well, no, everybody wants to be, everybody wants clout. Everybody's trying to get those numbers up. So just have that brand, have that thing you're gonna do so that people notice you, and then you can live this silly life. This is what it is. The word is silly. It's this deeply unserious society that we live in, and this is really the perfect reflection of that. It's fun, and that's what it is. Nobody's trying to be great at anything anymore. People are trying to be famous, but I don't know how many people are trying to master a skill. Well, there's a lot of parents.
My kid deserves to be famous, and I'm like, for what?
Yeah, for what? Right.
And they don't have an answer.
Well, the answer is, what do they deserve to be famous for? And they point at the famous people. So it's just chaos, right? So it's just chaos. When you looked at Judy Garland, you used to be like, okay, we get it. Aretha Franklin, yeah, she deserves to be famous. Now you look at somebody and you go, why shouldn't my kid move me to LA? I mean, these parents, some of them are moving to LA and they're being supported by their children. It's like the ultimate dream. They're like, great. So I can retire because my kid shakes their ass in a mansion. Phenomenal. It's a bit weird, perhaps, for parents to be overly excited about that. It's a little odd. But a lot of these TikTok parents, I don't know. Maybe they're living vicariously through their kids. Sounds like the Ramsey family. It sounds. Also, the idea that fame doesn't have corrosive, very negative effects, especially for children. And the idea that parents wouldn't recognize that is scary. Yeah.
Because you had your own little bit you had some child stars.
I was on Sesame Street a few times. I mean, it was nothing really, but I've seen and know enough people that have gotten really famous, and there's a downside to it. So to experience that type of fame when you're 17 years old, you got to be really strong mentally, and you got to be really careful about what that leads you down the path of doing.
You aspire to do? Do people say I want to be a fireman? I don't even know. Maybe a YouTuber.
No, I think the glamorous jobs are the ones that are on social media, the ones where you see people living lives that you want to live, and making gobs of money are the attractive jobs if you're a kid. Now, you don't realize that the shelf life is short. You have to be really careful with your money, to be really high and then really low. You don't see any of that as a kid, so you're just looking at the benefits. This guy's driving around in a new Ferrari with all his buddies, hooking up with the hottest chicks, have all the money, but there is a shelf life to that. I mean, look at, during the pandemic, it's what are these kids gonna say? I wanna be a nurse. So nurses are walking around in garbage bags because we don't have protective gear for them. And TikTokers are making millions of dollars to float in a pool. So any idiot would go hey, I wanna wear a garbage bag and get COVID. Sane people go, I want to shake my ass in a mansion. Yes, the greed and the ego will swallow itself, and it will collapse under its own weight, and then it will be born again from the ashes. And that's the circle game of life. And that's just it. There's nothing new happening here. The medium is new. The technology is new. But in terms of human dynamics and human behavior, this is a tale as old as time.
What are the jobs of the future? Is it just going to be?
Well, the jobs of the future, I think, are going to be, a lot of them are going to be online, and they're going to simulate life, whether it's sex or relationships or friendship or family. They're going to simulate what used to be actual life, and they're going to replace it with something that's cleaner, easier, sadder, but you won't know the difference.